What's up, Facebook? How is everyone doing tonight? I just want to hop on really quick to share a little bit more about this happy coffee stuff I keep talking about and how it works, because that's a question I get asked a lot of the time. I mentioned that, I get asked about like how it works and what the ingredients are, because everybody thinks that there's like some magical secret to how it works. And so I'll say, the ingredients are neurotropics, that gets infused with neurotropics, and that causes your happy hormones to be balanced and elevated. And then people get confused and they don't understand what that means and why that's important. So I wanted to hop on here to talk to you guys a little bit more about that. Hey Mike, hey Claudia. Thank you guys for hopping on. I hope that fan doesn't bother you back there. It's just trying to get good lighting and I didn't feel like being in my kitchen today. So, this is the time of day where I am taking, sometimes I'll do the happy hot cocoa, which today I'm not doing, and the little happy pill that I keep talking about. So I did take that, and just want to talk to you a little bit more about happy hormones specifically and how those affect not only your happiness, but also pretty much everything else that's going on in your body and in your life. So first of all, neurotropics, what those actually are. They are ingredients, they are compounds that fuel your happy hormones, which the more accurate term for happy hormones is neurotransmitters. That's all the chemicals that are firing back and forth in your brain. Hey, Rob. And that cause you to feel certain things, and usually good things, and control a lot of things about appetite and mood and pleasure, motivation, all that type of stuff. So they are, like dictionary term, neurotropics are supplements and or pharmaceuticals that help with cognition in our brain. So it's basically the stuff that turns your brain on and makes it work. Okay, so what I mean by that is it's helping with things like your memory, cognition, focus, other cognitive functions, just basic like getting stuff done in your day, if that makes sense. So really quick disclaimer, because this is another question I get asked a lot too. I don't sell pharmaceuticals. There are no direct sales companies that I know of that sell pharmaceuticals. So these are completely natural supplements that have neurotropics in them, but not of the pharmaceutical sort. So it's not anything that you're going to become addicted to, or like if you take it and then you stop taking it, you're going to struggle with withdrawals from. So it's nothing crazy like that, because that's another concern that I hear often, which I totally understand, because I'm somebody who's hesitant to take products before I do my research. So definitely do your research, ask all the questions, do research on your own. You can use Google if you want, other resources that I can make available to you. But this is nothing that's toxic to you or dangerous or that's going to cause addiction or have any kind of crazy side effects. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way. So what are your happy hormones, right? There are several of them. The four that we're going to be talking about today are dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Okay, so those are all things that you have probably heard of before, once upon a time. Maybe you're just not 100% clear on what those are. So let's talk about them, okay? Dopamine is the first one. That is the feel-good hormone. It is the hormone that is associated with pleasure and just feeling good and feeling blissful. It is also the hormone that is associated with reward. So when we think about people who are struggling with addictions, and I mean, to be honest, that's probably most of us, because even if you're not struggling with like a drug addiction or alcohol addiction or cigarette addiction, whatever, obviously dopamine's involved with those too. But even the addiction to be like on social media constantly, and we feel that need to scroll, and it's like if we're not on our phone, we get this like weird feeling like something is off, and we feel the need, it's like a compulsion, like we have to go reach for our phone and scroll, and then we feel better. When you're doing that, you're actually searching for a dopamine rush. So that's involved there. What else? Even things like gambling, sex, sugar can be an addiction, believe it or not, like an actual biological addiction. That's not just something that people say, like that's something that is physically causing an addiction in your body. Dopamine is also associated with motivation, thinking, concentration, and when it's balanced in your body, you're going to be able to focus better on the task at hand. You're not going to be so worried about searching for a rush of dopamine from somewhere else, like, being on your phone, scrolling social media, feeling like you have to be on your phone, or feeling like you have to have a drink, or that you have to have that cigarette. You'll be able to actually put those things down, and you won't feel like you need them as much when your dopamine is balanced. Okay? If you struggle with low dopamine, you might know that because you're probably also struggling with anxiety. So low dopamine is also typically associated with high adrenaline. So if you think about an anxious person, if you struggle with anxiety, which is totally me 100%, we're constantly in that high adrenaline, like fight or flight mode. We're always on edge. We're always waiting for something to happen. We're always worried. We're just like up. Okay. So those two things typically go together. But obviously when your dopamine is balanced and you're not going to be in that state, you'll be a lot more calm and centered. Okay. So really quick before I continue, I should have probably said this at the beginning. I'll just say it right now. When I'm talking about these 4 happy hormones, there are 3 of them that are balanced with the happy coffee or the happy hot cocoa, depending on whatever one you decide to try. So the dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin, my bad, I'm so tired right now. The dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins will be balanced out by the happy coffee or hot cocoa. Okay, and there's 2 different types of coffee that we have, and then hot cocoa, which is decaf. But decaf version of basically the same thing minus the coffee. And then if you're looking to have your oxytocin balance, if that's something you're struggling with, which you'll know about in a second when I get to that, that's when you would want to take the happy pill, because this is the product that will elevate that in your body. I always recommend that everybody take them together. We call this DOSE, and DOSE actually stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And you'll see why, like when I go on and keep talking about these things, you'll see that each of the hormones control so many different functions in your body, and that the products actually have so many benefits that you really wouldn't realistically want to be taking just one or the other. You'd probably want to be taking both. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense of why I'm talking about happy hormones right now. So the second one that I want to talk about is oxytocin. That's another one that probably most of us are familiar with as being the lovey hormone. That's the hormone that is released when, you're cuddling a puppy, or when you're holding a newborn baby, when you're in love, all those types of things. So before I actually get to this, I took a bunch of notes because I want to make sure I hit all my bases with you guys. So it's also the hormone that is released and that's involved with feelings of trust and feelings of connection. It's the reason why we're actually able to be in love and to stay in love. It actually has a lot to do with motherhood and childbirth. So it is actually what is released and what can help release or cause childbirth to happen. So I know, like, for some people who are pregnant and, they say try everything you can to have, to make the, I can't even talk today, you guys. This is so bad right now. Try everything you can to induce labor, right, towards the end. And then sometimes people struggle with that and they have a hard time and they're like, I want the baby out. And so sometimes people will recommend, have sex and that will help you. And the reason being is because when you have sex and you have an orgasm, oxytocin is released in your body, and that will cause the contractions of the uterus, and then labor can happen. Same thing when they give you Pitocin in the hospital for that. That's basically synthetically produced oxytocin, so that's going to cause the same thing to happen. And it's also involved, after the baby is born. So it actually causes an increase in the milk supply of the mother when she is looking at her baby. Because like our bodies were designed to do certain things, and all of these things, these hormones work to keep our body functioning according to its primary purposes, which I'm not saying our primary purpose is to have children, but obviously that's a human purpose. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to continue as a species. But with everything, we need to have motivation to get stuff done. We need to have energy to get stuff done. We need to have desire to eat. We need to have a desire to have sex and to reproduce. It's just human. But other things that oxytocin is involved on, before I just go on a tangent here. Like I said, a lot about connection, why we fall in love, but it is also a relaxing, calming hormone or neurotransmitter. Okay. So I'm going to use this opportunity to tell you about this amazing happy pill that I have right here. I always take this every night before bed for the relaxing, calming effects, because that will help me sleep. Prior to this product, before I knew about this and before I was taking it, I was struggling really bad with insomnia. So I get into like work mode. As somebody who works from home, I'm working like all day. I don't have, like 9 to 5 work hours, or even like when I was working at the gym and I was working like 9 to 9 basically. I don't have a set amount of time. So I would get into work mode and then I wouldn't be able to turn off. And as a perfectionist and as a high achiever, I would want to keep going. And before I knew it, it was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and I wasn't sleeping. And then I was trying to get up early and it was just a mess. So I take this before bed to help me sleep. So the main ingredient in that supplement, not in the coffee, but just the pill by itself, is xanthocumol, which is derived from the hops plant. And xanthocumol is third party study, not by our company, not by my company, but whoever does third party studies. I don't know. I'd have to look into that for you. And they have actually found that it helps with so many things, you guys. It's crazy. So initially, I started the products because I was struggling with depression and anxiety and was looking for something to help. And all I knew about really was the coffee, and that, I knew about dopamine and serotonin. I didn't really know too much about the endorphins in the product yet, but I, as somebody who studied this stuff in school, I knew serotonin was definitely playing a role in my life, and I needed something that was going to elevate it. But then it was encouraged to me and it was recommended to me that I take both of these products together, so I figured, why not? Give it a try. And now I am so glad that I did, because this little pill helps with so many things and I would be missing out on so many benefits if I wasn't taking it. So I'm going to just read them off to you guys, because this is insane how much stuff it actually helps with, okay? So third-party studies shown that it helps with inflammatory processes, helps strengthen bones, it helps with diabetes, helps with osteoporosis. It's an antioxidant, which helps with the aging process. I know we all want to age as slowly as possible. Will actually help clear up your skin. It helps your pores get smaller. Hey, Mia! It helps with even hormonal acne. So there are people who are struggling with PCOS and they'll get hormonal breakouts. And this will actually help to clear that up, which is awesome. Helps with allergies, arthritis. It's an antibacterial. It is an antiviral. It is an anti-obesity compound. So it can actually help prevent obesity. It helps brain health. It helps with your breast health, actually. It helps prevent against several types of cancers. Specifically colon cancer is one of them. Helps with cholesterol, helps with dermatitis, it helps with endometriosis, energy, free radicals in the body. Seriously, I could just keep going. There's so many things that the main ingredient in the little happy pill helps with. Hey Ariel, thanks for hopping on. Okay, so that's 2 of our hormones. The third happy hormone or neurotransmitter we're going to talk about is serotonin. So that was the one that I was really familiar with before I found these products. And I knew it was involved with depression, which is true, but it's also involved in many other things. So serotonin, that hormone, you want to think of that as the mood stabilizer hormone, if that makes sense. So not only is it involved in depression, but it's also involved in anxiety. Sorry, you guys. It's involved in anxiety. But outside of mood, actually, it helps. It's part of what controls our bowel movements. It's part of what controls our appetite. It's part of what controls our sexual function and our sexual desire, confidence, social behavior. So there's a lot that serotonin does. And I know I've mentioned this on videos before, but believe it or not, about 95% of our serotonin is actually produced in our guts, not our brain. So that was really interesting to me when I found that out. I wouldn't have expected that, But what's even more interesting is that if you're somebody who struggles with, having like a poor immune system or poor gut health, which, if you have poor gut health, you can actually end up with so many other different types of conditions, like physical, medical conditions. And it's such a big part of your health and overall immune system. But because most of your serotonin is actually produced in your gut, you're going to have a lot of feelings that are related to food, and like serotonin and your diet kind of work together to create balance or disbalance in your body, if that makes sense. So how was it worded before? I was trying to remember how to explain it to you guys. So for example, I know a lot of us eat a bunch of junk food, right? Like we probably did that ever since we were kids and we got used to it. But if you know that feeling when you've eaten so much junk food that you start to feel sick, that's actually serotonin. Serotonin doesn't want that in your body. It does not want all that sugary, processed, not real food in your body. So it'll make you feel sick, and that should be like a natural mechanism in your body at that point to stop eating that food. It's also what causes those random cravings where you might all of a sudden you're craving like a salad, and you're like, wow, that's super weird. Why would I be craving a salad? Or why would I be craving, fruits and vegetables? That's weird. But like I said, your body is built to function a certain way, and it's going to always try to maintain homeostasis by making you do things you're supposed to be doing, which is eating healthy foods. So serotonin is actually what causes that. Okay. So serotonin also... No, hold on. No, that's not serotonin. I wrote that under other notes. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Kelly. Thank you guys for hopping on. I know it's late. At least for me, it's late. That's why I'm so tired and like stumbling over my words right now. I apologize. Okay. Then the fourth happy hormone we're going to talk about today is endorphins, which I'm sure most of you guys, if not all of you, have heard about endorphins. And that is our natural painkiller in our body. But believe it or not only does it help protect and alleviate, protect us against and alleviate physical pain in our body, but it also helps to alleviate mental or emotional pain, which is really interesting. And I actually didn't used to know that. So I thought that was pretty cool. What happens is endorphins bind to the opiate receptors in our brain, which are associated with pleasure, reward, all that type of stuff. And they change the perception of pain. It causes us to change the perception of pain in our body, so that we don't feel it. We feel more calm. So that is pretty much functioning the same way that narcotics do in our body. So, a lot of people who are addicted to painkillers, or even if you're not addicted to them, and let's say like you break a bone or you're going in for surgery or something, and they give you narcotics to alleviate the pain. Well, those narcotics are binding also to the opiate receptors in your brain to change the way you're experiencing that pain. So endorphins do the same thing. You don't need narcotics to get endorphins. You can get that, from running or exercising or, taking happy coffee. So endorphins, what they do aside from relieving pain is they relieve stress in our body. And they also are part of what controls our appetite. It's part of what controls our sexual desire. And it actually enhances our body's healing processes, which is really cool. Which obviously, if our body is working faster and more efficiently to heal, our immunity is going to go up. We're going to feel better. We're not going to feel as stressed. And then in turn, it kind of works together. If we're not as stressed, then we're also going to be able to heal faster and feel better faster, if that makes sense. So it increases the immune response in the body too, which is really important. And if any of you are like nerdy like me about health stuff, you know that pretty much your immune system is everything in your body, aside from your brain, which literally is everything, or your brain or your heart, I guess. But your immune system controls so many things in your body too. Okay, so like I said, pretty much to get balance in your body, if you're struggling with any of those things, whether it's a mood thing you're struggling with, or you struggle with cravings and you crave a lot of sugar, you crave a lot of carbs or salt, if you are struggling with any kind of chronic pain, or if you have asthma or allergies, like so many of these things I feel like are just super common and that most of us if not all of us, are struggling with these things, and we just think of it as like second nature. We think it's normal. You know, everyone has allergies, everyone gets headaches, everyone's depressed or anxious. But the reality is that we're not supposed to be in that state. Our body does not want to naturally be in that state for any of these issues. So there's obviously multiple things you can do to get them into balance. It's part of why it's encouraged to eat healthy, because not only is that going to benefit just your overall physical health, but it's also going to benefit the function of, which I guess technically that is your physical health, the function of your neurotransmitters and all that type of stuff, how everything in your body is circulating and moving around. But it's part of why, like, you need to be eating healthy, why you need to be drinking a lot of water, why you need to exercise. Because not only are just your happy hormones going to be affected by doing that, but everything else in your body. And I hope that me kind of listing this stuff out for you helped you see and understand a little bit more how all these things are intertwined and connected. So it's not just like happy coffee, yeah, that's cool, like it helps you be happy, but it helps with so many other things, you guys. It's insane. And honestly, I would have to think that anybody who is choosing not to take this or try it at least is crazy. Like, why wouldn't you? So just to recap really quick, the 4 happy hormones that I talked about today are what are elevated and stimulated and balanced in the body when you take dose. And the reason we call it dose is because it stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So the happy coffee or the hot cocoa, whichever one you choose to take. If you're sensitive to caffeine, definitely recommend taking the hot cocoa, as that is decaf. It only has 5 milligrams of caffeine, whereas this has quite a bit more, but still not as much as in like a Starbucks cup of coffee. Then you're gonna find help in the areas that you are probably lacking in when it comes to your dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. But if like maybe you have to go back and watch the replay of this video, but if any of those things that I mentioned about oxytocin are things that you are struggling with, then you want to be taking the happy pill, because this is the only product that can cause your body to release oxytocin. There's not any other products out there that do that. There's not any other supplements, or I mean there might be medications, I don't know, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm not trying to prescribe any kind of medications right now. But again, like I said, most of us are struggling in multiple areas, and really to get the greatest health benefits, to get the greatest happiness benefits, and just overall just feel the best, I would recommend taking both together. So that's what I do. I always take the coffee first thing in the morning. And then the pill I will take, I don't know, like 10 minutes after the coffee. Sometimes I'll take it at the same time. I don't like to space them out too far because I just feel awesome, honestly, when I take them together. I feel like it's like a jolt of like just goodness. Like I can feel when it kicks in, and it's like, okay, now I'm ready to start the day and I'm good after that. But then later in the day, if I start to feel anxiety coming on, like if I'm going to the gym or if I am stuck in traffic or anything like that, or like an interview with a new client or something, anything like that might provoke a little bit extra anxiety in me, I will take another happy pill, and that will induce that calming effect for me and relieve my anxiety. So I've actually taken it when I noticed I'm being triggered and starting to have like PTSD issues. I've also taken it when I've had like severe anxiety, just because I'm weird and I have social anxiety sometimes. Like if I go to the gym, like that actually makes me anxious. So I'll take that like on the way to the gym, and then 10 minutes later it's kicked in and I'm at the gym, and then I'm good. And then again, like I said, I also take it at night. So you can actually take it up to 3 times a day, which is really cool. So I will also take it at night, and I make sure I save one just for that, because otherwise I probably won't be able to sleep like a normal person and actually get my 7 to 8 hours that I want. So anyways, I hope that answers some of your guys' questions. I hope that helped provide some education on what the happy hormones are, why they're important, and how many aspects of your life that they are affecting outside of just your mood. So it's not just about happiness, it's about everything. It's about overall quality of life, and that is such a big deal, you guys. So many of us are struggling with that. But other than that, that's all I had for you tonight. If you guys have any questions or any concerns about anything that I talked about today, or if you want me to expand on any of these things, if you want me to talk more about the hormones, let me know. Let me know in the comments. You can send me a PM. I'm always happy to take video requests too if you have like a specific topic about health and wellness or mindset or anything like that that you would like for me to talk about. I'm always happy to do that. Just let me know. And I will always go back through in the comments later and make sure I'm replying to all of you guys. But otherwise, thank you guys all for hanging out with me tonight. I know it's late, so I appreciate your time. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night, though, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.